Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking salicylic acid, that ingredient that can add so much benefit to almost anyone's skincare routine, but which we still see as specific for just people with acne, oily and blemish prone skin. This just isn't the case, and I honestly think salicylic acid can bring great benefit to your skincare routine, whatever your skin type. In this video, I'm going to pick it apart. I'm going to share with you some of the hints, tips and hacks to incorporate salicylic acid into your own skincare routine, some of the myths that still exist around using this ingredient, and of course I'll be sharing with you my tried, tested and absolute favourite salicylic acid containing products. So sit back, relax and let's talk all things salicylic acid. So let's start off with a brief overview of what is salicylic acid. Well, salicylic acid is an exfoliating acid, but it's significantly different to the other ones that are seen on the market. Exfoliating acids such as glycolic acid, lactic acid, mandelic acid often appear in our skincare products, and they're alpha hydroxy acids. They're water soluble. This is different to salicylic acid, which is a beta hydroxy acid, is also oil soluble. It might only be a small difference, but it has a huge impact on how the product works and the benefits that you can get for your skincare routine. Whereas most exfoliating acids work on the surface level to eat away at the bonds that hold the dead skin onto the gorgeous radiant skin beneath, which is what allows us to bring back that luminosity and that glow to our complexion. Salicylic acid does that. You still get the surface level exfoliation, particularly if the product's at the right pH, but beyond just that, you also get that oil soluble product going into the pores. It goes into the pores and helps to thin out the amount of oil that sits within our pores, making the residual oil much easier to wash out using a cleanser. With that oil, it also pulls out dirt, debris and blackheads. In terms of who salicylic acid applies for, it's a myth that it can only be used on oily, acne and blemish prone skin. We often see it as a key ingredient of acne treatments, and whilst it works so well in tackling those blemishes, helping with acne, fading acne marks, scars and of course tackling those blackheads, it also is applicable for other skin types. If you choose the right percentage concentration of salicylic acid, not only will you get an effective exfoliation, but you'll also get some calming and soothing benefits, making it great for people with sensitive skin if you choose the right product. I'm going to jump into some of my favourite product recommendations that include salicylic acid, and I've got something for each skin type and skin concern. But before I do that, I just want to call out one thing, which is a myth that kind of surrounds salicylic acid. The myth is that pH matters. Now, pH when it comes to exfoliating acids is crucial, particularly when we're talking about the alpha hydroxy acids. Using the wrong pH means that you might have a product with that ingredient in, but it's not going to be doing anything for your skin because it's in the wrong pH to be effective. Whilst pH does matter for salicylic acid is actually much less pH sensitive than the other exfoliating acids. So when you hear people calling out salicylic acid containing products as having the wrong pH, this can be a little bit misleading. Salicylic acid can actually be used and be super effective in a pH which is closer to our skin's natural pH, much more neutral than some of the harsher acids we see in our skincare routine. And this means it can be great in the right formulation for people with sensitive skin or skin that's prone to redness and irritation. Anyway, hopefully you're sold on salicylic acid, and now I'm going to break it down with some of my favourite products. I'm going to start with cleansers. Now, a lot of people say you don't get benefits from actives in cleansers. This is something I've actually said on this channel before. And again, this does apply for most things, except when it comes to salicylic acid. There's been some studies done on salicylic acid to see how long it actually takes to start working in the skin. And it is much less time than in traditional acids and some other active ingredients you might find in washes. If you massage a salicylic acid wash into the skin for 60 seconds, you're going to start to get some really great benefits, which is why I usually recommend people start their salicylic acid journey with a really nice, gentle wash, because it'll minimize the amount of irritation and sensitivity you can get from the product. It's a great way to introduce it. That 60-second rule is really crucial here, because I would always say, once you're working whatever cleanser you choose, make sure you work it into the skin for 60 seconds so you can start getting those amazing benefits. My go-to salicylic acid wash is this. This is the Inculist Salicylic Acid Cleanser. Not only for the face, but also for the body. Think about the texture that you have on the body, maybe on the backs of the arms, the tops of the thighs. A salicylic acid wash can be so good at helping to tackle that as well. So I actually use this on my oiliest days. I'll use this to help dial back any oiliness I have in the skin, tackle any breakouts, but also I use it as my daily body wash to just get rid of all of that texture on the body and get me summer ready. It takes a little bit of time to see the results, as you'll see with a wash. I think leave leave-on treatments get those results a little bit quicker, but a great place to start. And this is a fantastic, affordable and drugstore option. I also want to call out the Versed Keep the Peace cleanser. This is a lot less drying than the Inky List Salicylic Acid cleanser. So if you have a drier skin type, I think this would be a better way of incorporating salicylic acid into your routine. The Inky List one is great if you have oily, blemish-prone skin because it'll just take away all that excess oil. If you're worried about a product being stripping and drying, then the Versed is a really, really great option for you because it's also blended with some beautiful botanicals and some hydrators. So it replaces some of that lost oil that you'll get from using a salicylic acid with some really nice hydration and doesn't leave you quite as dry as with the salicylic acid from the Inky List. I also want to call out for the bougie amongst you, those of you that don't mind splurging on a really gorgeous cleanser, then the Medicate Surface Radiance Cleanser is where it's at. I think if money was no object, this is probably the one that I would reach for. I just find it a little bit on the pricey side to justify using it on the body, which is why I personally stick to the Inky List. This, however, when I've used it, my skin has loved it. It manages to combine a salicylic acid with a really nice foaming mechanism that doesn't leave you stripped, doesn't leave you dry, and leaves your skin perfectly balanced. You can then follow on with all the rest of your skincare serums, knowing that you aren't tackling, dehydration and stripped skin to start with. This is super, super effective, and yet leaves a gorgeous feel on the skin. And yes, it's a little bit up there in price point, but I do think it definitely can be justified by that gorgeous formulation with some nice botanicals thrown in there, and just the overall spa-like experience you get from using it. Total holy grail and a ding 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 firm favourite. Those are the washes and the ones I think you can get really great benefit, but I think if you want to supercharge your salicylic acid benefits, you really want to be using a leave-on treatment. I don't think when it comes to leave-on treatments, the delivery mechanism actually matters. Whether it's a mask, it might be a moisturizer, or it could be a serum. The fact you're leaving that concentration on the skin, it'll work very similar whichever type that you use. My go-to favourite is this. This is the Salicylic Acid Masque by The Ordinary. It's in that 2% concentration, which I said is great if you're trying to tackle blackheads or congestion in the skin. While strictly not a leave-on treatment because you do wash it off after 10 or 15 minutes, or by that point the salicylic acid's got into the skin and it's doing its work. So I'm classing this as a leave-on treatment. This is fantastic. It's also got charcoal in there which gives it that black appearance, but I think all of the heavy lifting in this product has been done by that salicylic acid. I started out as a super skeptic. I didn't really like this product. I find it a bit messy. It was fine, but I didn't think it was the easiest product to use. And then I started using it 2 or 3 times a week every week, and I've noticed about a 60% reduction in the number of blackheads, particularly around the nose area. This is fantastic for people that have slightly drier skin because you can really target it at where you actually want to do the work. You don't want to be applying an all-over salicylic acid treatment if you suffer from dry skin. You want to just target where you have those blackheads, and this almost lets you do pinpoint mask work where you can just put it on those areas where you do have that congestion, and honestly, in a couple of weeks, it'll have sorted it out for you. Total holy grail. Now, when it comes to hyped viral skincare, I don't think there's any product bigger than the Paula's Choice Skin Perfecting BHA Liquid Exfoliant. It's a mouthful to say, but this honestly took the skincare world by storm. And so many people have got really great results from this. When I talked about pH earlier and how the pH of a salicylic acid isn't as crucial to its efficacy as say for some other exfoliating acids, this is the product I was referring to because a lot of people say they get amazing results and then somebody else will pile in and say it's been pH tested and it's too close to the skin's natural pH to be really effective. Well, anecdotally, I've used this product on and off for years and I always had great results with it. And because the pH isn't as acidic as some of the other exfoliating acids, a lot of people say they use this, get great results, but don't have that same sensitivity and irritation that they can get from other salicylic acid products. This is why I think this is a fantastic option for people that do worry about including an exfoliating acid. They think it might be a little bit sensitizing, maybe it could be a little bit irritating. You won't get that from this product. It'll leave your skin so smooth. After about 2 weeks of use, you'll notice a visible improvement in your pores and how congested your skin is. Your skin will feel smoother and that texture will just be gorgeous. And honestly, I think it's a fantastic product. You pay a little bit extra, but they do have a travel size, which is what I've linked below. I've linked all the products mentioned today below. They do a travel size, which I think is great because it's almost like a try before you commit to a full size. I promise you, if you try that travel size, you will be buying the full size within 2 weeks because you'll love the results you get. Now, Now finally, when it comes to the treatments, I'm going to call out another toner. I think you often see salicylic acids in toners, and I think it's a great way to include a different texture in your routine, and also a really nice watery product that'll just layer beautifully under all your other serums. This is the Geek and Gorgeous Calm Down Exfoliator. Geek and Gorgeous do so many great exfoliators, but this is my favourite. This has a 4% polyhydroxy acid, which is a super gentle exfoliating type, but it's also got a 1% BHA salicylic acid. This is great because that 1% is on the lower end of what I said was that 1 to 2% range that you normally find in products, which means it's going to be a lot less sensitizing and irritating if you've got sensitive skin. The polyhydroxy acids are honestly going to give a beautiful surface exfoliation, but the low concentration and the large molecule size mean, again, it's not going to irritate or sensitize the skin. This, I think, is like the gold standard when it comes to exfoliators for sensitive skin. If you have uneven skin texture, but you're worried about redness, inflammation, and sensitivity, reach for this because so good. And maybe start using it like a couple of times a week. Don't go in there like every single day. Work up to it because whilst it's gentle, it still packs a punch, and you'll get some great results from this. It's also got some nice botanicals in there which are going to help calm and soothe the skin. And all around, I think it's a stunning and beautifully formulated product. Great way to get salicylic acid into your life if you're worried about sensitivity and any irritation from the product. Now, before I close this video, I want to talk about salicylic acid spot treatments. This is just for people with very acne prone, oily and blemish prone skin. They might feel that all of the great products that I've fangirled about so far will work for them, but they want something a little bit stronger. Maybe that's just a bit more targeted and going to deliver quicker results for them. And I think a leave-on spot treatment with salicylic acid in can be a great option. I'm just going to call out for people that this isn't for every skin type, and this is when I think salicylic acid can be its most drying. Higher concentrations often formulated with other drying ingredients. So I want to call this out, but if you're like me and an oil slick morning through till evening, these can really work. First of all, I'm going to call out the Paula's Choice 9% BHA. Now, before you all go, 9%, that's way too high. It's in a controlled release formulation, so you're not getting that 9% hit straight off. It's more prolonged release, and you get some great benefits from it. This is a product where I would say, unless you have very targeted blemishes that you want to treat, this isn't a product that I do, reach for. I think all the other ones I've mentioned will give you much less irritation and better results in the long term. But as a quick fix for those areas where you do have maybe a patch of texture you want to tackle or a set of blemishes that you want to deal with, I think that 9% in a prolonged release formulation is so good. I save it for the very biggest, the most cystic and angry zits that I have. I'll pop some of that on before I go to bed, and honestly, in the morning, it's the best it can look. Not gone overnight, but so much better than it was the night before. I also want to call out the Alpha H Oil Balancing Gel. This is my summer savior. In summer, my skin just feels like I'm greasy the 2 seconds after I've actually washed my skin. Nothing can control the oil like this product. Now, this is for people that have super oily skin, and I would only use this in the summer when my skin's at its oiliest. It's got salicylic acid in a 4% concentration, but it's also got benzyl alcohol and drying alcohol in here. I know a lot of people call out drying alcohols as being bad for the skin. For someone like me that is super oily, it's one of the few ways I can keep that in check in summer. This is only for the oiliest amongst you, otherwise for everyone else it will strip and dry. But if you feel like there's nothing that mattifies your T-zone in summer, this product definitely will, and it's my go-to. I buy a fresh one every summer. I only use like half it because I don't use a whole amount, but I buy it fresh every year, and honestly it works so well for me. So there you have it, guys, my ultimate guide to salicylic acid, how to use salicylic acid, the best products that you might want to incorporate, and just myth busting some of the myths that do exist around the use of salicylic acid. Hopefully this has answered some of the questions for you, and I know that a lot of people still live a bit in fear of salicylic acid, thinking it'll cause irritation, inflammation and dehydration in the skin. It won't if you use the right product with the right concentration and base formulation. I think there's a salicylic acid out there for everyone, and I hope this has kind of proved it for you. I've left all of the links to the products mentioned today in the description box below. I've also put some honorary mentions down there and with skin type that it might be compatible for if you want a wider selection to choose from. But wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.